I want to talk about the debate. I want to talk about Kamala. But the first thing I want to bring up is this Tim Walz family. So he's got this family in Nebraska. He loves connecting to Nebraska. Why? Well, we've talked about this on the road to 270 map here. Nebraska's 2nd district matters. He likes to be like what Scranton Joe is to Pennsylvania. He wants to be to Nebraska. But here's the thing, Caitlyn, and I'll start with you. Here's his family wearing a bunch of T-shirts out in Nebraska being like, Walz's family for Trump. Like, he doesn't seem to be liked by his own family, Caitlyn. And I think that's funny that, like, here you have a bunch of people not just saying we're not going to vote for him, but openly backing his opponent, Donald Trump.
Yeah, Sean, name a better endorsement than the nominated vice president's entire family, right? And I think what makes this photo, for your viewers that have already seen it, is Mima right in the middle of that photo with the biggest smile on her face, right? She seems so proud of that endorsement. So here's the thing. Tim Walz's brother doesn't want him to be vice president. His extended family doesn't want him to be vice president. Members of the National Guard don't want him to be vice president. So here's a question for the mainstream media. When the Kennedy clan came out supporting Biden over their own family member, RFK Jr., every media outlet covered it. So the question here is, will the media cover the Walz family supporting Trump? I'll wait for that.
Patrice, to that point, I want to play this. This is Jeff Walz. His brother was on News Nation, where I happen to be a contributor. He spoke because he had put out these Facebook posts. Here's what he had to say on News Nation.
In an exclusive interview with News Nation, Jeff Walz, brother of Democratic VP candidate Tim Walz, says he wants to set the record straight after criticizing his brother Tim on Facebook, saying he's not the type of character who should make decisions about our future and that he's, quote, 100% opposed to all his ideology. Former President Donald Trump quickly pounced, praising Jeff on Truth Social, writing, "Sounds like a really great guy," despite saying to his Facebook friends that he had thought long and hard about endorsing Trump on stage. Now he tells News Nation he wants no part of the election.
And we're not campaigning or anything for him or against him or anything like that.
Jeff, who is a registered Republican and donated $20 to Trump's 2016 campaign, stands by his comments that he disagrees with his brother.
I will say I don't agree with his policies.
All right. So look, Patrice, he hasn't spoken to his brother in 8 years. He doesn't like him. He's not supporting him. He contributed to Donald Trump. To Caitlyn's point, the Kennedys, when they came out against RFK, that was huge news. When Mary Trump came out against her brother, by the way, Don Trump Jr. is out with a story saying, wait a second, I hadn't seen my Aunt Mary in like 25 years, and suddenly she's the Trump expert, that everybody wants to hold up as saying whatever. This is, his family, his brother, Caitlyn's point, the National Guard troops member that he served with. No one likes this guy that's around him, and yet he's America's granddad. Everybody loves Tim Walz. What the heck? I can't believe this.
Well, listen, he's also the new definition of masculinity. Don't forget that one. I prefer to take my hunky husband, who actually is a good definition of masculinity. But the Tim Walz thing and his family, what I stuck on is his brother saying, I don't support his ideologies. And that tells me that there is something in this Tim Walz's approach to looking at the world that's Marxist, that's probably fascist, as we consider how he ruled with a heavy fist during the pandemic, that turned his own brother's stomach. I get it. In politics, you may not agree with your family members. And if you have a prominent role, whether you're an elected official or even you're a pundit and a talking head, your family members may be like, wow, my sibling, but I still love them. However, it's telling about whereas compared to when RFK Jr., his family kind of disavowed him. They disavowed him because of his politics being not coming out in support of the Democratic Party. I didn't hear them talk so much about all of the issues that he was really speaking about. This is different. Tim Walz's brother is calling out the ideology. And if your brother is saying there's something wrong about your core values and your view of the world, then there's something for a lot of Democrats who do not ascribe to a lot of the far left radical Marxist policies for them to be thinking about, because he would be the number two. God forbid Kamala Harris were off the scene and, was in office. He would set the agenda for the rest of the nation.
Yeah, Chris Stigall, you've got a very Tim Walz background going today. I love it. It's you put on
Do
a
you
camel
buy it?
hat, huh?
Do you buy it?
I do. Put on a camel hat, buddy, and you're
Masculine.
there because that's all it takes. But the level of, I mean, we talk all the time about the lack of media scrutiny, accountability on Harrison Walz. But I mean, I keep going back to what Caitlyn said at the jump, right? This is everybody around him. It's one thing to have a one-off, but with Trump, it's like, this person doesn't like him within his family, and so we're going to make a big deal out of it. We're going to give him a book deal. Everybody that's been around Tim Walz, close to him, says, I don't like the guy for a variety of reasons. And yet we want to construct this narrative that he's Coach Walz. He's this lovable, huggable guy that everybody, it's like, that we all want to have as America's dad. And I'm going, really? Because the people who know him best don't seem to want to be around him.
Yeah. I call him the human mascot on my show. No human being gesticulates the way he does. He moves around like someone from another planet would put on a person's suit and move around. Like he's literally like a high school mascot. The wave, the frantic kicking and no human being behaves that way, first of all. That's just weird. There is one group of people that seem to really like Tim Walz, though. Communist China. They love him. And I agree exactly with Patrice's point. It is not about, I just don't like my brother. My brother went off the reservation is what Tim Walz's brother is warning us. There's something wrong with him. He's not just off as a personality. The 30 trips to China, the honeymooning in China, the statist Marxist tendencies that he has, as Patrice pointed out, this guy is broken. There's something really unhinged and weird about him. I don't know when we're going to find it out, but we will, and I'd rather find out about it after he loses.
Listen, I think we know it. We just don't, like, the media is like, please, let's not amplify it. We know it. We see it. Who likes him and who doesn't? The Chinese like him, and everyone close to him doesn't. It's right there in front of our eyes.
Yep.
And to your point, Sean, that came out during the interview last week with Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. He said nothing. I mean, maybe he had a couple of softball questions thrown at him. I thought he was going to be the babysitter in the room and jump in and intervene when Kamala Harris started saying crazy stuff or getting into a word salad. Instead, he was really silent, and it was as though he was trying to take notes on, okay, what's the policy position now? So it tells me that they are trying to keep him silent because they don't know if he would go off the reservation and say something crazy.
It's interesting because you feel like both of them. She says word salads all the time, and they're like, just you let her do the word salading. You be quiet.
Every time he's caught in a lie, by the way, every time they call him out and say, hey, you lied about your military service. Hey, you lied about being a Nebraska Chamber of Commerce winner. He just says, well, I'm a teacher and I get emotional, so screw you.
My wife says I have bad grammar.
Yeah. What are you talking about? You can't excuse those kinds of lies, but they, of course, Dana Bash let him do it.
Well, the media also excused him the other day, guys, when he was asked about the hostages killed in Gaza. All he had to do was say, this is unacceptable, despicable, we're praying. And then he could have, enjoyed his milkshake at the state fair and put on that show for the people at home watching. But he couldn't even say that. And the other group of people that likes Tim Walz besides communists, the low T beta soy boys. And we definitely don't want those guys running.
Wait. Walk me through that. Who are the low T? I assume T is testosterone.
That's right, Sean. Low testosterone, beta soy boys that are the opposite of masculine men, which we so desperately need back in this country. Please, we're begging. The girls are begging over here.
You mean guys that aren't doing this to greet people? I would assume you don't like. That's not what you want.
All right, I love this. I feel like Caitlyn Sinclair is educating me. I will keep my eye out this weekend for low T soy boys.
Stay away, please.
Okay. One guy that is not going to get that moniker is Dave McCormick there in Pennsylvania. He's running for the Senate against Bob Casey. Obviously, Chris Stigall, you're well aware of this race. Brand new ad that I got to call out because I think this is sort of like the bat signal to everybody else that's running. Hey, guys, and take a look at this, and I want you guys to critique this.
I'm Dave McCormick, and I approve this message.
3 high schoolers die from fentanyl every day. As a sheriff, I see it. As a father, it happened to me. It was all fentanyl. Then it was the lethal dose level. As a dad, it's a household I'm protecting. I couldn't keep him from it. If the border was secure, chances are my son will be alive today. We can't bring back the people we've lost, but we can get rid of the weak politicians like Bob Casey who let it happen.
I mean, dude, that's a powerful ad, Chris Stigall. How is that going to play, and how is it playing in Pennsylvania?
Every internal that I've seen has Bob Casey and Dave McCormick neck and neck.
Yep.
Dave McCormick has been the model candidate this cycle, and that's a rarity for a Pennsylvania Republican. We've had a spate of disastrous campaigns, but this guy is firing on all cylinders. I don't know who's doing his ads, but he has literally led, and I would say even at times the Trump campaign could follow Dave McCormick's lead in messaging.
Yes.
I mean, he's
That's why I'm
doing
showing
outstanding work. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, just I want Patrice and Caitlyn, tell me what you think, because I look at that as a dad, and I look, and this guy's the sheriff. He's the sheriff. So he deals with the law enforcement piece. But I mean, I got to be honest with you. I was a little something in my eye there. But that, to me, when an ad evokes that kind of emotion, that's what gets me. And I thought that was the perfect combination of law enforcement meets empathy and personal touch. I don't know. I mean, you guys tell me, what did that move you?
Absolutely. And I think, taking from what Coach Chris just said over there, the Trump campaign has been doing a way better job of, getting rid of the name calling and Twitter wars and all of those attacks. And I think that's what McCormick did so well here, right? He invoked such emotion within all of us without doing any of the name calling on his opponent. And there was a recent Pennsylvania State Senate poll. I just saw this about a day ago that had Bob Casey and Dave McCormick tied for the very first time.
Yes.
And
yep.
He's saying in this ad, he's point blank saying, we can't bring back the people that we've lost. But you know what we can do? We can actually stop the 20 million illegal immigrants from coming into this country, and we can remove corrupt politicians. And again, did it without the name calling and all of
right.
those.
And may I just point out, could I just point out briefly, because your viewers should know, if they don't, Sean, Bob Casey's not just any Democrat. Bob Casey is a heritage Democrat name in Pennsylvania. It is so, this would be like a Republican challenging Chuck Schumer in New York and making it tight. That doesn't happen, and it's happening in Pennsylvania.
I think the only thing I would say here is there's so much power in the personal story. Leading with the personal story, but then also the other side of another angle to the immigration debate that we don't often hear about. If you are, everyone has heard about the rapes and the murders, and they are heartbreaking. But I think they're no longer penetrating to a lot of middle of the road folks, or even some Democrats who, say, well, yeah, that's not really in my neighborhood yet. But the fentanyl issue is. And the fentanyl issue is something that's going to resonate with a lot of suburban moms, with suburban folks whose kids, or maybe they know someone who was accidentally poisoned because of fentanyl, and that's coming through the southern border. So I think there's that effective tactic of using that personal story, but also hitting an angle to the immigration debate that has been flying under the radar right now.
Well, if you enjoyed this content, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and click the notification bell to get more.